California dreaming, California dreaming. Hey, Texas need to make a statement week 1 against the Los Angeles Rams. I'm joined by Jonathan M. Alexander, and we finna chop it up. Hopefully, he won't cuss me out.
That would be so
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuning into the Texas Tailgate Talk Show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel, all one word, Texans Tailgate Talk. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you are following me at www.bigsargemedia.com. Hey, listen, my article that will be available to you on Tuesday. I sound like Norbert, right? Tuesday. Will be available to you on Tuesday. You know what? I'm going to wait because I have a distinguished guest here, and I want to talk about my articles before I talk about his articles because, y'all know, all right, he the journalist, right? Sarge is just, Sarge is a journalist too, but I ain't go to, wait, Jonathan, which school did you go to?
North Carolina Central University, the best school in the nation.
In the nation of what?
The United States.
Of
the world.
You playing Sims? Because I know you ain't talking about that when this is the best school. See that HBCU pride right here? See that?
I'll give y'all credit. Y'all did win against Texas Southern. That was a good win. But but if it was North Carolina Central versus Prairie View, we know who would come out on top.
I think didn't they play one time in the championship a couple of years ago? Prairie View lost though.
Yeah, it's North Carolina Central won.
Yes, I ain't gonna lie, they got some talent. I will say that, and I'm gonna let you make it because it is a HBCU. Now,
wait, let me ask you a question if I can.
Okay.
When Tony Kornheiser says Big Sarge Sports, is he talking about you for real?
Yeah. So before I introduce you, you want to know the story?
I want to know the story.
Okay, so look, hold on for the viewers and the listeners, supporters of Sports Talk with Big Sarge and Texas Tailgate Talk, supporters of Big Sarge, all right? Story time. Okay, so here's what happened, right? So you remember the last year that the Rockets, when did the Rockets and the Warriors play? And the Warriors won in 6 games. They won at Toyota Center in game 6.
No,
2019. 2019, Kevin Durant was still there, correct?
Yeah.
So during the press conference, this is when they were still in Oakland. So at the press conference in Oakland, I asked Steve Kerr, had he ever seen a better pure scorer than Kevin Durant? And he said, well, there was this guy I used to play with named Michael, right? Mm-hmm. And so everybody laughed about it, joked about it, this, that, and other. Well, went back, not Tony Kornheiser. What's Michael Wilbon? Michael Wilbon went back and on PTI said, and some millennial had the nerve to ask Steve Kerr about Kevin Durant being a pure scorer, like he didn't play with Michael Jordan, right? So I heard that, I seen it, I was like, oh, so I made a video directed at Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser, not like malicious or salacious or anything like that. I was just saying, hey man, listen, I'm 50 years old, so thank you. Wait, hold on. that was 6 years ago. No, I was 47 at the time. I said, hey man, I'm almost 50 years old, but to call me a millennial because you think that I look like a millennial, I really appreciate that. Like that means a lot to me. I said, but I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, like Kevin Durant can really score. So they saw the video, and that's when they said that on the show, because I see Michael Wilbon. That was so like they did that show, like that was Wednesday, because I had flew home, did a show because this is when I had my radio show, then flew back out there. So I had seen Michael Wilbon back out there, and he started laughing about it. And so that's why Tony Cornell said that Big Sarge Sports, the world's oldest millennial. No, that ain't fake. That's not AI. That's really him. That's really him saying it. Me and Michael Wilbon, every time we see each other now, we laugh about it. But you know what's so crazy, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Do you know what Steve Kerr said a couple of years later after that?
What did he say?
Kevin Durant is the purest scorer I ever seen in the NBA.
So you was
hey, look, I was right. You know how, look, I tell people all the time, my takes are old school, like how you had to wait on your food in the oven or be cooked. It ain't microwave, it ain't hot plate, it ain't griddle, it ain't air fry, it ain't none of that.
Yeah.
Mine is, you got to wait for them to, you know what I'm saying? You got, back in the day, you didn't throw a pot roast in an air fryer for 7 to 10 minutes and then it'd be ready. You got to let that thing cook. You got to put it in the crock pot.
Properly prepared.
Right. I'm a crock pot meal. Hey, what's getting tuned to the Texas Tailgate Talk Show? I'm your host, Big Sarge. Joining me today is none other than Jonathan M. Alexander, Texan staff writer for the Houston Chronicle. Jonathan, first of all, I admire you all who put your middle initial in your name. Like, that's amazing. like that's amazing. It's like, maybe I should be like Brian L. Bearfield. You just don't have the same ring. Like, it's like Stephen A., like Cody M., Jonathan M. It just doesn't have the same ring. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and just stick to Big Sarge. But Jonathan, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing today?
And I'm good. Glad to be back.
How does it feel to be back in regular season mode? I mean, we went through, rookie mini camp, OTAs, mandatory mini camp. We've been through training camp, preseason, and now the regular season has started. How do you feel just being back in that regular season mode and mindset?
Yeah, it feels good. This is our busy season. This is when I tell my family, sorry if I don't respond right away. My girl, sorry if I don't spend a lot of time with you, because this is where, it's nonstop. So I'm excited about it. Excited to tell some new stories. Excited to see what happens with the Texans this season.
I am as well, man. And it was good, seeing everybody back today at the facility and getting back into the groove, even though the Texans players was like, what y'all doing in here? I was like, hey man, the regular season started. Like, yeah, but ain't y'all ain't supposed to be here till like Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, we here though. So no, it felt very good being back, man. And just getting back into the groove of things. But Jonathan, I want to go ahead and start this show. And the first question that I want to ask you, what do you expect? What are your expectations week 1 against the Rams?
I think that's a good question, because I really don't know what to expect. We're seeing Nick Caley's offense for the first time. Even though you saw some things that he did out in the preseason, that's just a vanilla offense. He doesn't want to show everything. So I'd be interested to see how this is going to look, how it all comes together, whether they'll have some hiccups like they did a couple years ago when Bobby Sawyer was calling plays for the first time, or will they come out looking sharp? They've had a lot of work against first-team defense. I am a little worried about the run game. Joe Mixon was a huge difference maker, and they won't have him. And then the defense, let's see how good they'll be. They'll be getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, along with that defensive line and that secondary, and they could be a dominant defense.
So the Rams are 2.5-point favorite, according to some betting sites, to open up. Do you see them? Like, do you see the Rams? And I'm not asking you to give me a score, but do you think that 2.5 is, I'm not asking you to give me a score, nor am I asking you to give betting tips. I'm just giving you the line that's out there right now. But do you see them 2.5 points better than the Texans right now?
When I did my early season prediction, I had the Rams beating the Texans in this game. I think it'll depend largely on how healthy Matt Stafford is. If Matt Stafford is healthy, I think the Rams have a really good team. The bettors are probably betting that Nick Caley's offense will get off to a slow start. I do think the Rams could beat the Texans. However, if Matt Stafford isn't completely healthy, which I think they'll try to get the ball out of his hands because he has that back injury pretty quick, and that could play against the Texans. So I could see it going either way. I think my prediction may go the other way in favor of the Texans just because I don't know what we're going to see from Matt Stafford.
So I don't think that the Rams are that much better than the Texans, and I definitely don't have them. I don't have them defeating the Texans, and the reason why I don't is because of Matt Stafford. I mean, he's been in this league for a very long time. He sat out all preseason. He sat out pretty much training camp, and he's coming back for the first time. And in your first game, you got to face that Houston Texans front seven. Like you're going up against, you're going to try. You're going to be trying to get away from, Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. And I just don't see it. But Jonathan, another advantage that I see that the Houston Texans have, and this is why I believe that they can defeat. They're not going to blow them out, of course. I still think that it's going to be a close game because of the questions we still have on the offensive side of the ball for the Houston Texans. But Jonathan, when you look at Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and they have to go against Texans cornerbacks Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter. I just don't think that that's an easy win like some people would think that it's going to be, only because I do believe that Devontae Adams, I still believe that he's good, but he's not he's not Green Bay Packers Devontae Adams. I don't see him as being that type of all-pro wide receiver anymore. And I think that he's gotten, a little bit older. So, if you expect him to line up against an all-pro like Derek Stingley Jr. and win, I think that you're sadly mistaken. Also, if you're going to, say, okay, we'll take Derek out by putting Adams over there, knowing that we want to throw the Puka Nacua, I think that with the step up that Kamari Lassiter is going to make this season, I believe that he is one of those. He's one of those cornerbacks that's going to be talked about as the future, kind of like how some of these up and coming cornerbacks are. I think that he's one of those cornerbacks of the future, and I think that he can hold his own against Puka Nacua. But do you see it any differently, or do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I agree with you to some degree. Like, I think it'll be interesting to see what the matchups are. Like last year when the Texans played the Jets, they matched up Derek Stingley on Devontae Adams and then Kamari Lassiter on Garrett Wilson, even though Garrett Wilson was a better receiver at the time. I think Devontae Adams still has it. I think he has potential to be a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't know if he will because Puka Nacua is the man over there.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a really good matchup. Obviously, Kamari Lassiter is real scrappy, plays really well. Derek Stingley is an all-pro. I don't know who's going to win that matchup, or even if the Texans decide they want to put Kamari in the slot and then have Jalen Smith out there. I think that'll be a long day if that happens. But I think it's going to be a back and forth. I think Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams will definitely have their opportunities against the Texans, and we'll see, who comes out on top in this matchup.
And with that being said, Jonathan, if we are to see that lineup, what you just spoke of moving Kamari Lassiter into the slot and having rookie Jalen Smith play on the outside, then that means that we may see a lot of Jalen Petrie at the safety position, because my next question for you is, you asked D'Amico Ryans the question on Monday about CJ Gardner-Johnson and his health, and he said that he would be ready for week 1. So what does CJ Gardner's return mean? What does it mean for the Houston Texans defense?
Yeah, I think it's huge, especially if he is healthy. I think with him, the Texans do have one of the better secondaries in the league, along with Kalen Bullock, Sting, and Kamari Lassiter. I mean, those four guys are all ball hawks.
Yeah.
And can get interceptions. And, if Gardner-Johnson is healthy, then, he's a huge boost. Because also the other thing is, I was talking to MJ Stewart about this, and he's kind of become a vocal leader. He brings the energy, he brings the juice. And we know he's a trash talker.
Yeah.
And we know he likes to get into defenders' heads. I bet him, I don't know how Devontae Adams is with trash talking defenders, but I bet he'll try to get in his head. But having him is a big, huge plus for the Texans, and thank goodness for the Texans that he didn't suffer ACL tear.
Yeah, and he's not out for the season like some thought he would be. So anyway, no man, hey look, man, that hey look, I like that guy, man. He knows that I'll take a shot at him like that, and he'll appreciate it. He'll laugh about it as well. Jonathan, so here's my thing, right? I know that he wants to be out there. I know that CJ Gardner-Johnson wants to be out there. I know that it would be hard if he thinks he's healthy and the medical staff says he can go, to keep him away from the field. Do they need him? Yes. But I think they need him more for his trash talking ability, his heart, the way that he just plays the game. But, and you tell me if I'm wrong or not, Jonathan, is he ready though? I mean, we haven't seen him on the field since we were at Greenbrier. And what was that? Like, that's going on, what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, about a month almost now?
Yeah, I think it was August 7th. So it'll be a month by the time he plays.
So we haven't seen him on the field in a month. And I know that, D'Amico likes to say that, just like when I asked about Joe Mixon, when he does return, how he's going to, come back and be acclimated into that system. But when you look at it, Jonathan, he hasn't played football, real football, since the Super Bowl. And so we've seen him out there at, training camp. We know that he was doing good in training camp, but he's been away from the field for a very long time. So how does he get himself reacclimated? And do you want to throw him out there? Because if that's the case, Jonathan, then I'm going to have to question what happened last season when Nico was ready to go, but they said, hey, let's hold him out just a little bit longer, just to make sure. So if that's the case, then, hey, keep him out a little bit longer. Let's make sure. You said you got an opportunity to speak to MJ Stewart. I don't think that MJ Stewart is a bad replacement if you're going to play him with the starters. If he's playing with the starters, as far as that front seven is concerned, they apply so much pressure that even whatever he lacks on the back end, they make up for it on the front end. And also when you have those cornerbacks, and like we mentioned earlier, in Stingley and Lassiter, I think that helps make up for maybe the lack of talent that he has compared to a CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, I think MJ Stewart could get the job done when he's surrounded by a lot of good pieces. The thing about CJ Gardner-Johnson is I think they knew the whole time that this was a 4-week injury. I had heard after he got injured that he was hoping to get back for week 1. And I know D'Amico Ryans wouldn't put anybody out there if they weren't close to 100%. So I think he'll be ready. The thing that you have to worry about CJ Gardner-Johnson are a couple things. Number one is conditioning. Will he be full go? Will they have some substitutions? I'd expect they have some substitutions. He wouldn't play the full 100% of the snaps, probably something like 75, just to get his conditioning going. And the other thing is, the mental. Like you said, he hasn't hit yet, so he's got to get that in his brain and be okay with launching off that knee and using that knee. But I think physically he'll be ready to go without any limitations.
It's going to be interesting, Jonathan. Like I said, I'm curious to see. And if it was me, right? If it was me, I'm like, okay, I would probably wait, because what the Texans have, their next 3 games are at home, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
After week 1, 2 games.
No, Bucks, and then they go on the road against the Jags, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Jags, and then they come back here. Sorry, I don't know why. Oh, because I won't be going to the Jags. I just thought about this. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm not going to be in Jacksonville. That's probably why I thought that they were at home, because I'm going to be at home. But Jonathan, I'm maybe sitting him out this week, letting him practice this week, and letting him practice next week, and then probably bringing him back against the Bucks, because I feel like they'll need him more going against like Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield than they would against Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. I just think that when you look at that matchup, I'm saying, okay, let me let you get some conditioning in. I know that you've been working out. I know that you've been working on your conditioning, but it's the difference. And Jonathan, they always tell us when they're coming back, it's like, I thought that I was ready until I got out on the field, and then that the game speed is so fast that that I had to play catch up to make sure that I was still there. So I just don't. Like I said, Jonathan, I don't know about bringing him back that early, but I mean, I guess that's one of the things that we'll have to see. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, Jonathan, I want to ask you a question. When the Houston Texans set the 53-man roster, there was a certain player that was placed in a certain position that I feel will be back this season just because of where the Houston Texans placed him. We'll be back.
Hi, Laura Williams coming to you here from Easy Honda. Just want to remind you that this is my new home, and here at Easy Honda, we are here to take care of all your vehicle needs. From new vehicles to pre-owned vehicles, we've got what you are looking for. And if you're a business and you're looking for vehicles, we've got a great selection here at our dealership. For any information on getting your next vehicle here at Easy Honda, you can reach me at 281-224-3666. Remember to ask for Laura Williams. We make it easy here at Easy Honda.
Hey, welcome back. You're tuned into the Texas Tailgate Talk Show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. And joining me today is Jonathan M. Alexander, Texan staff writer from the Houston Chronicle. All right, Jonathan. So this one is probably like this is a curveball I'm about to throw you, because I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this. Mm-hmm. And so I have to I just got to get your take on it, because it's something that's been bothering me and kicking me in the back of the head. And I talked about this on the show last week after the 53-man roster came out. Jonathan, do you think that there's a chance that we could see Nathaniel Tank Dell back on the field this season?
See, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to say that there's no guarantee. I mean, I don't want to say that it's a guarantee that he won't play this season.
Yeah,
I do think the fact that Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans have repeatedly left the door open and put him on the PUP list tells me that maybe there is a chance that he could return. That's what I'm kind of gathering from that, but I don't know. It was a serious injury. I think, to be honest with you, let's say it comes down to week 14.
Mm-hmm.
If they need a wide receiver because they have an injury and Tank Dell is fully healthy, I could see them bringing him back. But if they don't need a wide receiver and Tank Dell is healthy, then I could see them holding him out for the rest of the season. I think that's the scenario. A lot will depend on what the Texans need and how healthy Tank Dell is. I know they're not going to rush him back, but I think those are the factors.
Jonathan, I said on last week's show, it's almost like by putting him on the PUP list, it's almost like in case of emergency, break glass. Like they have him in this glass case, right? They have him in this glass case, and come week 13, week 14. I think I may have said like week 14, week 15, something to that effect. But Jonathan, if it comes down, I just honestly feel that he is inside of this glass that says, in case of emergency, break glass. And by that time, because Jonathan, So we were in the booth when he went down week 16 against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think it was you and I think I may have turned to you and said, "Hey man, you hear that?" Because you remember how quiet it was, and I was like, "Do you hear him?" Like I could hear him. I could clearly hear him screaming from the field, from the press box. And I was like, "Bro, that's excruciating pain right there. If I could hear you way up here." And so we watched. But Jonathan, as time has went on, man, I've just seen Tank slowly but surely get himself back, get himself. He was limping at one point. He has a smaller and smaller and smaller limp. I wish I would have gotten a chance to see him last week at the season premiere, but just watching him move around, Jonathan, I'm saying to myself, so at what point does he start running? Because if he's already started to do some light jogging and maybe some running, I'm just saying, in case of emergency, break glass.
Yeah. I just, to me, if he comes back, then that will be a miraculous return, considering what he has suffered. Because then you're saying after surgery, he had April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Let's just say he comes back in November. That will be 9 months post ACL, MCL, PCL, kneecap, knee. So that will probably be one of the fastest recoveries in NFL history. So I just want to temper those expectations.
Yeah.
Because it will have only been a short period of time if he returns in November or December. And usually those injuries, particularly an ACL injury, takes between 9 and 12 months. And he had other ligament tears as well. So I don't believe he'll return, but I do think the Texans are keeping the door open just in case.
Jonathan, I always say, and if he can get in contact with this one person, he may be able to make it back quicker. Because I don't know if you believe this or not, but I firmly believe this, Jonathan. You know how we look at the Black Panther, right? And God rest his soul. Oh my God, what's the actor's name?
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. So we look at Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther, but in all honesty, Adrian Peterson is the Black Panther. He has vibranium in his body somewhere because he's the only one that I know that can recover from those injuries that quickly. So maybe he needs to get some of that vibranium. Wakanda forever. And in the chat, if you all have questions for Jonathan M. Alexander, Jonathan, can you take a couple of questions before you get off here?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so drop your questions in the chat. Now, don't drop them all because Jonathan has a mailbag that we're going to talk about at the end of the show, and he can go into way more detail from his mailbag than he will on here. So, drop your questions that you have for him right now, but make sure that once he gives out the information for the mailbag at the end of the show, that you also reach out to him that way so he can go into further detail with your question. All right, Jonathan, here is one of the biggest concerns that we've been talking about throughout the training camp and preseason, and now it's here, man. Now it's here. Can the Texans O-line have success against the Rams front seven? And I'm really asking, what do you believe that this Texans offensive line is going to be? What is the makeup that you believe that they're going to be? And will they have success against, because I got this down, the defensive line of the Los Angeles Rams consists of Kobe Turner, Poona Ford, and Brandon Fisk. And then they have to deal with the outside linebackers and the edge rushers and Jared Verse and Byron Young. I think that's where the biggest problems are going to come from. Do you think that this O-line can have success against that front seven?
Yeah, this, to be honest with you, is one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. I forgot Poona Ford was on that defensive line. Shout out to his agent, Murph. But he's good. He's a solid piece. And, of course, Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk had great seasons last year. And then Jared Verse won Rookie of the Year. This might be one of the toughest O-lines Texans face all season. It'll be a true test. We'll see what Ariante Ursary is made of when he goes against Jared Verse. firmly believe Titus Howard will hold it down on the right side. And then we'll see about Laken Tomlinson and Ed Ingram, who both struggled at the previous stops. Will they be a lot better? I think that we have a smarter, that we'll be seeing a smarter O-line. They'll handle stunts, have better mindset. I think they'll be better than the one last year. But this right here is a true test. And like I said, probably the best defensive line they'll face all season.
And I think that you said earlier in the show, one of the things that you were concerned about with the Houston Texans offense is their run game. If they're not able to establish a run game early, do you think that front seven of the Rams will try to pin their ears back and come at CJ?
Yeah, I mean, the Texans, what they don't want to do is be in a lot of third and long situations, because then they'll be in trouble. The Rams will have opportunities to rush the passer, maybe send an extra blitzer. So the Texans, if they want to be successful, they're going to have to establish that run. Nick Chubb is going to have to break some tackles. Damian Pierce is going to have a good game. Maybe even Woody Marks if they decide to play him or give him some touches. They got to get more than 2 yards, 3 yards per carry, because they can't live in third and long. And that was their issue all last year. They lived in third and long, and then C.J. Stroud was sacked multiple times per game. I think that's a great point.
Yeah, I think that the offensive line will have to. So here's the thing: we know what Titus Howard, like you said, Titus Howard and Ursary are going to be the bookends. We know Ed Ingram and Laken Tomlinson, and then Jake Andrews is probably going to start at the center position. I think that one of the most important people for that offensive line is not a player. I think it's Cole Popovich. And I think that Cole Popovich has to have these guys ready, willing, and able to step up and do what they need to do, because they know that they're dependent on so much. And especially when you look at a coach like Cole Popovich, because last year, of course, him and Chris Strausser bumped heads a lot, and there was a lot of things that he couldn't do because he was second in charge. He wasn't first in charge. But now you're first in charge, and now you have a lot more responsibility on your plate. But I believe that he can handle it. And I think that the one thing that I think that Cole Popovich will be able to do better than Chris Strausser was able to do, better than Bobby Slowick, former offensive coordinator, was able to do, is in-game adjustments. That's the one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing with this Nick Caley offensive system and Cole Popovich with that offensive line. I think that they are the type of players who make that in-game adjustments. And one of the reasons why I believe that so much is because they come from a system that had the greatest in-game adjuster in Bill Belichick. Man, I'm not going to even lie to you, Jonathan. I think that, I've seen a lot of coaches coach games. I've never seen somebody make those in-game adjustments like Bill Belichick does. And, I'll never forget, man, they were playing against the Baltimore Ravens, and he made an adjustment to, I think, somewhere where offensive lineman was eligible, and they were able to do something and move the ball, and they won the game. And which one coaches the Ravens, Jim or John?
John.
He threw a fit after the game. They're cheating. They're doing this. Bill Belichick cheated, and it was like, no, it's in the rule book, and he made the adjustments. And by making those adjustments, look what he was able to do. And I mean, think about when they played the Atlanta Falcons and they were down 28-3. Now, I do believe that Kyle Shanahan also had a lot to do with that, but when they started making the comeback, they were able to make the adjustments. So can you see that as well, them two being, and I'm talking about Caley and Popovich being those in-game adjusters like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the things that D'Amico was looking for when he hired Nick Caley, somebody who could make adjustments, because obviously that's where the Texans struggled last season. But we really won't know until we see, this is Caley's first time calling plays. We won't know until it happens in real time when the Texans are down and Caley does have to make those adjustments. What I will say is the scheme is a lot better than what the scheme was last year. I don't think you'll see a lot of free rushers as you saw last year. They'll be able to change protections to decide where the rushers are coming from instead of just ignoring it and allowing them to get a free hit on C.J. Stroud. So I think that will improve, and that will make the Texans' offensive line a lot better this season.
Jonathan, we're about to take a break. When we come back, I have one more question for you, and I'm going to ask it to you so you'll have time to think about it coming out of the break. Which Texans rookie do you think will make the biggest offensive impact this season? Offensive lineman Ariante Ursery, running back Woody Marks, wide receiver Jaden Higgins, or wide receiver Jalen Noel? So think about that. We'll be right back.
Hi, Laura Williams coming to you here from Easy Honda. Just want to remind you that this is my new home, and here at Easy Honda, we are here to take care of all your vehicle needs. From new vehicles to pre-owned vehicles, we've got what you are looking for. And if you're a business and you're looking for vehicles, we've got a great selection here at our dealership. For any information on getting your next vehicle here at Easy Honda, you can reach me at 281-224-3666. Remember to ask for Laura Williams. We make it easy here at Easy Honda.
Hey, welcome back. You're tuned to the Texas Tailgate Talk Show. I'm your host, Big Sarge, and joining me today is Jonathan M. Alexander, Texan staff writer for the Houston Chronicle. All right, Jonathan, before we went to the break, I asked you a question, right? Mm-hmm. Which Texans rookie will have the biggest impact on the offensive side of the ball this season? Offensive lineman Ariante Ursery, running back Woody Marks, wide receiver Jaden Higgins, or wide receiver Jalen Noel?
I think it's going to be Ariante Ursery because he plays arguably the most critical position on this offense outside of quarterback. He's going to be protecting C.J. Stroud's blind side, and he's going to be going up against a lot of the best defensive linemen in the league. And I'm not saying he'll be all pro type, but I think he'll hold his own, and he's the most critical guy. Now, I am excited to see Jalen Noel based on what I saw from him in the preseason and during joint practices. I think he could be a big contributor for them. He's shifty, he's slippery. I think he's going to make plays.
So I said that I believe that Jalen Noel, and I feel like he's going to be the one to be able to make the biggest the biggest jump, or excuse me, the biggest adjustment to playing in the NFL, because he's playing in the slot, and the slot only requires you to just to find an open spot. Sit down, find an open spot, make yourself available for the quarterback. And I think that translates easier for a player like him coming into the league than it does, Jaden Higgins, who has to get adjusted to playing on the outside in the, outside in the NFL. And so I think that he'll just be able to, the way that his mindset is, and also being able to watch Christian Kirk and the way that he operates from the slot. I think that for me, I think that's the easiest adjustment for him. And I think that he will have the biggest impact. All right, Jonathan, what's up next for Jonathan M. Alexander?
Wednesday, I'll have a feature story drop on C.J. Stroud. I went to Rancho Cucamonga over the weekend just to learn about where C.J. came from and why Rancho Cucamonga means so much to him, and then end up learning why C.J. Stroud means so much to Rancho Cucamonga. So that's coming out. That's dropping Wednesday morning on HoustonChronicle.com. Oh, and then my mailbag, as Sarge mentioned earlier, that usually comes out on Wednesdays, but it's gonna come out Thursday because the Stroud story is dropping on Wednesday.
All right. So, and where can they submit their questions for the mailbag?
Yeah, you can tweet me or message me on X. You can send me an email, jonathan.alexander@HoustonChronicle.com, or in some of our stories, there's a mailbox widget where you can submit a question there.
All right, and so I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna debate you at once we get to NRG on Wednesday. I want you to think about this. All right, you ain't got to answer it right now. Yeah. But who do you think wins in the verses between Usher and Chris Brown? Don't answer that now. Don't answer that now. We're gonna answer. I'm gonna get to that when we get there, because I got a feeling that you and I are gonna disagree on this thing. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think so too.
all right, let me jump in here. Let me see. Let me see if I got any. All right, so let me go back up here and let me look. Oh, Tay says, with EJ Speed making the plays he made to make the 53-man roster, does that pose a threat to Christian Harris's spot on the team?
I think if Christian Harris is not healthy, then yes. But I think Christian Harris is ahead of EJ Speed right now on the depth chart. I can still see them rotating their linebackers to get EJ Speed on the field. I just think right now he's probably fourth string on the depth chart.
I believe that as well. Here's another question from Brandon Hallman. If we're running a more Ram-style offense, does that mean this defense was already practicing versus a Ram-style offense all summer?
I think they'll have concepts of the Rams offense. I mean, you know, based on what I learned through reporting on the story on Nick Caley, a lot of the concepts in Sean McVay's offense were brought, or some of the concepts were brought by Nick Caley. Yes, I think to some degree, but I think Nick Caley's offense will also include a lot of what he learned with the New England Patriots.
All right. Well, Jonathan, I'm going to let you go because now that I've been professional with the Texans Tailgate Talk Show, I'm going to have to go and have happy hour with my Texan supporter and my TikTok family. Jonathan, you on TikTok as well, right?
I'm on TikTok. Yeah.
All right. So tell everybody where they can find you at, man. Look, you see, I know it may take a second, but for me, I give out everywhere you can find me except my home address.
Yeah. So like on Instagram and TikTok, it's JONM Alexander _ and then X is JONM Alexander without the underscore. So yeah, you can find me. I make TikTok videos, do all of that, and I'll continue to make some more this season.
Whatever.
Thank you. Thank you, Richie boy. Thank you.
Whatever. We go. I'm telling you,
this man's a smart man.
Hey, look,
not even close.
It
is close. It is close. But Usher wins out.
We're gonna talk about it because I think Chris Brown does, and I'm a huge Usher fan. But hey, look, we'll talk about it. Chris Brown got 33,000 songs, bro. 33,000 songs, and he has a cult following just like Usher does. I think the closest person to the cult following of Chris Brown may be Rod Wave, which I'm not really a Rod Wave fan because I'm like I battle with depression myself. I don't want to just listen to music that's gonna make me be like, oh man, I just want to cry. Everybody left me, man. That's like old school country music. But Jonathan, man, look, I appreciate you coming on, brother. And I will see you Wednesday. I cannot. Hey, look, please make sure, because I don't know how the algorithm be algorithming sometimes. And I see more of your articles from when you do like the I think that you would put like a screenshot on IG and you put the link or whatever. I see it there, but I don't see it when I don't see it on X until like maybe sometimes 2 or 3 days later. I don't know what the algorithm is doing. I follow you when I try to retweet your stuff, but please, man, when you put this article out, because I'm very interested in seeing, what was going on in Rancho Cucamonga. Ain't that where Day Day went? Yes. Ain't that where Day Day live?
And I mentioned it in my story too.
So you see Baby D too?
I should have put Baby D in there. But I did not see Baby D.
But man, please make sure that you tag me, man. And I really do appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna tell you the same thing I told you last time, because I tell all my guests this. Time is the most valuable possession that a human being has. And for you to give me that, man, I definitely appreciate it, because you'll never be able to get back that 44 minutes and 28 seconds you just spent with me. So I appreciate that. Please don't invoice me. I hope that you did this off the strength of our friendship, because if you invoice me, I'm going to tell your daddy.
Yeah, you know I'll come on anytime. Appreciate you having me.
All right, appreciate it, Jonathan. I'll talk to you a little bit later on, man.
All right, bro. Easy.
All right. That was amazing, family. I appreciated that. I really did appreciate Jonathan for hold on. I really did appreciate Jonathan for coming on and spending his time with us. Let me see if I there we go. Spending his time with us on the Texans Tailgate talk show. And make sure you go and you follow him on all social medias, and make sure that you subscribe to the Houston Chronicle so you can. Jonathan has some amazing articles, y'all. Jonathan has some amazing articles. And hold on before I get up out of here, because Queen asked the question. Mad respect to Verse, but if Ursary been going up against Daniil and Will, y'all don't think Ursary will hold his own? He's going up against them in practice and they're teaching him, but it's a whole lot different, Queen, when them lights turn on. When them lights turn on and that game speed of playing in an NFL game, and true, he is going up against two of the best edge rushers in the game, in Will and Daniil, two of his teammates. But Jared Verse is also very, very, very good, and he has a lot of moves. So, but with that being said, so Jonathan, talked about his article, and I told you all that I have something very special coming up as well. So I had an opportunity to go to Alabama, Pinson, Alabama, for Nico Collins' first youth football camp that was held at his high school, where he won state championship there. You all wouldn't believe that he actually played against Bo Nix, somebody he's going to, a team. Bo Nix is the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and the Houston Texans will play the Denver Broncos this season. But he played against Bo Nix when Bo Nix was in the 8th grade. Bo Nix was in the 8th grade, but because the high school was so new, they allowed him to play up, and his dad was the coach. And I mean, Bo Nix did pretty good though. But I digress. I got an opportunity to speak with his offensive coordinator at the time. I got a chance to speak with his wide receivers coach. I got a chance to speak with a lot of his teammates that came out to help with the camp, and got a chance to speak with his mom, his sister, his dad, his brother. And I think that you all will enjoy that article as well. So I have that coming up. And I also have. So Queena, it's funny that you mention Jared Verse. Because, and I'm gonna get out of here on this one. Y'all. In week 1, the NFL may have blessed us with watching 2 candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. The NFL may have scheduled a preview for us to watch. The defensive, excuse me, I'm good. They may have given us an opportunity to have a preview of 2 players that we will be watching and talking about in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation come towards the end of the year. Make sure to follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, because we do everything for the gram. And I want to thank our guest, Jonathan M. Alexander, Texan staff writer for the Houston Chronicle, for joining us today on the Texans Tailgate Talk Show. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Big Sarge.